Visual English Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Visual English Podcast. I'm your host, Ben.
And I'm Bella. It is so great to be here with you all today. We are really excited about today's episode because we are talking about something that affects absolutely everyone, no matter where you are in life.
Exactly. Today, we are going to dive deep into the topic of dreams and goals. We'll be discussing how our childhood dreams change, the difference between short-term and long-term goals, and most importantly, how to actually achieve them without getting overwhelmed.
That's right. But before we get into the heavy stuff, just a quick reminder, if you enjoy our conversations and want to improve your English with us every week, please take a second to hit that subscribe button and leave a like on this video. It really helps out the channel and lets us know you want more content like this.
Absolutely. Your support means the world to us here at the Visual English Podcast. All right, Bella, let's kick things off with a little trip down memory lane. When you were a kid, what was your absolute biggest dream? What did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh, wow. Starting with the big questions. Well, to be completely honest, when I was around 7 or 8 years old, my biggest dream was to become an astronaut. I was completely fascinated by space, the stars, and the idea of floating in zero gravity. I used to read encyclopedias about the solar system for hours. What about you, Ben? Were your dreams that out of this world?
Not quite, but I love that. An astronaut is such a classic, ambitious childhood dream. For me, I was convinced I was going to be a professional football player. I played every single day after school, and I practically lived in my football boots. I thought I was the next Lionel Messi.
That's amazing. So what happened? Obviously, neither of us is currently orbiting the Earth or playing in the World Cup. When did reality hit you?
I think the reality check happened in high school. I realized that while I was good at football among my friends, the level of competition out there was incredible. Plus, I started developing other interests like writing and technology. I realized that making a career out of sports was a massive gamble, and maybe it was better kept as a passionate hobby. What about your astronaut dreams?
Very similar, actually. I realized that becoming an astronaut requires an insane amount of advanced mathematics and physics. While I loved the concept of space, I definitely did not love calculus. So I had to shift gears. And I think that's a really important point for our listeners. It is completely normal and okay for your dreams to evolve as you grow older and learn more about yourself.
I completely agree. A lot of people feel like they've failed if they don't achieve their childhood dream. But honestly, we are not the same people at 25 or 30 that we were at 10 years old. Our goals should reflect who we are today.
Exactly. Which brings us to the present day. Now that we are adults, the word dream often gets replaced with the word goal. Ben, how do you differentiate between a dream and a goal?
That is a great question. For me, a dream is something broad, inspiring, and maybe a little bit abstract, like saying, I dream of being financially independent, or I dream of traveling the world. A goal, on the other hand, is specific and actionable. It's the roadmap to getting to the dream. A goal is saying, I am going to save 20% of my income this year, or I am going to visit Japan next October.
I love that distinction. A dream is the destination, but goals are the stepping stones to get there. Without goals, a dream is just a wish, right?
Exactly. You hit the nail on the head. So, Bella, let's get personal. What is one major long-term goal you're working towards right now?
Right now, my biggest long-term goal is to buy my own house within the next 5 years. It sounds very traditional, but having my own space that I can design and truly call mine is deeply important to me. But as we know, buying property is incredibly expensive right now.
It really is. It's a huge financial commitment. So how do you break down a massive 5-year goal like that into manageable pieces? Because looking at the total price of a house can be incredibly intimidating.
It definitely is. If I just look at the final number, I get overwhelmed. So I have broken it down into short-term goals. For example, my goal for this year is to save a specific amount of money for the down payment. My goal for this month is to cut back on eating out at restaurants and put that extra money straight into my savings account.
That is a perfect example of breaking things down. You went from a 5-year macro goal to a monthly micro goal. It makes it so much more digestible.
Exactly. And before we move on to your goals, Ben, I just want to pause and ask our audience, what is a big goal you're working towards right now? Let us know in the comments below. And hey, if you're finding this conversation helpful or motivating, please don't forget to subscribe to the Visual English Podcast and give this video a thumbs up.
Yes, we read all your comments and we love hearing about your journeys. Okay, returning to the topic. For me, my current long-term goal is related to my career. In the next 3 years, I want to transition from being an employee to starting my own digital marketing consultancy.
Oh, wow, becoming an entrepreneur. That is a huge step. What is driving that goal?
Mostly, it's the desire for autonomy. I want to have control over my schedule, choose the clients I work with, and build something from the ground up. But just like your house goal, it requires a lot of planning. I can't just quit my job tomorrow and hope for the best.
Right, that would be a bit reckless. So what are your short-term goals to make this business a reality?
Right now, my short-term goal is focused on networking and skill building. I dedicate 2 hours every weekend to taking advanced courses in data analytics. Another short-term goal is to secure at least 2 freelance clients this year while I'm still working my full-time job. It's all about building a safety net and testing the waters before I take the big leap.
Testing the waters. That's a great idiom. It means trying something out to see if it will be successful before fully committing to it. I think that's a very smart approach, Ben.
Thanks. But you know, setting goals is the easy part. Writing them down in a notebook feels great. The hardest part is actually sticking to them. Let's talk about obstacles. What do you think is the biggest stumbling block that prevents people from achieving their goals?
Oh, there are so many. But if I had to choose the biggest one, I would say it is the fear of failure. People are so terrified of trying something and not succeeding that they decide not to try at all. It's a form of self-sabotage.
Self-sabotage, absolutely. We convince ourselves that we're not good enough, or we suffer from imposter syndrome, that feeling that you're a fraud and don't deserve success. I've definitely experienced that when thinking about starting my own business. The voice in my head says, "Who are you to give advice to companies? You don't know enough."
I think everyone experiences that voice. The key is learning how to quiet it down. Another major obstacle is a lack of consistency. We live in a world of instant gratification. If we don't see results immediately, we get discouraged and quit. For instance, people go to the gym for 2 weeks, don't see a six-pack, and just give up.
Yes, the quick fix mentality. But anything worth achieving takes time. This is where discipline comes in. Motivation is a great feeling, but motivation wanes. It comes and goes. Some days you wake up energized, and other days you just want to stay in bed and watch Netflix.
Completely true. Motivation gets you started, but discipline keeps you going. How do you personally maintain discipline when your motivation is low, Ben?
Honestly, I try to rely on habits rather than willpower. I read a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear, highly recommended by the way, and it changed my perspective. Instead of focusing heavily on the end goal, I focus on the daily system. If my goal is to learn a new language, I don't obsess over becoming fluent. I just focus on the habit of studying for 15 minutes every single morning with my coffee. If I do that consistently, fluency will naturally happen eventually.
That is such a powerful mindset shift, focusing on the system rather than the goal. It takes the pressure off. If you just focus on the daily action, you can consider the day a success, which builds momentum.
Exactly. Momentum is everything. What about you, Bella? When you face setbacks, let's say you have an unexpected expense and can't put money into your house savings 1 month, how do you bounce back?
That's a great question because setbacks are inevitable. No journey to a goal is a straight line. It's full of ups and downs. When I face a setback, I try to practice self-compassion. Instead of beating myself up and saying, "I ruined everything, I'm never getting this house," I acknowledge the situation. I tell myself, "Okay, this month was tough. It's a temporary bump in the road. Next month is a fresh start."
Resilience, that is the word for it. The ability to recover quickly from difficulties.
Exactly. You have to be adaptable. Sometimes you might even realize that the goal itself needs to change. Have you ever had a goal that you worked towards only to realize halfway through that you didn't actually want it anymore?
Oh, absolutely. A few years ago, I had a goal to run a full marathon. I started training, running miles every week, waking up at 5 a.m., and about 2 months into the training, I realized I absolutely hated it. It was miserable. I was always tired, my knees hurt, and I wasn't enjoying the process at all.
Oh no. So what did you do? Did you force yourself to finish?
No, I realized that I set the goal because I liked the idea of being a marathon runner, not because I actually liked running. So I swallowed my pride and quit. I pivoted to weightlifting instead, which I genuinely enjoy. And I think that's a crucial lesson. It's okay to quit a goal if it no longer serves you or aligns with your values. Quitting isn't always failing, sometimes it's just redirecting your energy.
That is such brilliant advice. We shouldn't become prisoners to our own goals. They're supposed to improve our lives, not make us miserable.
Precisely. Well, we've covered a lot of ground today. We talked about shifting childhood dreams, setting SMART goals, which are specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-bound, and how to overcome obstacles like fear of failure and lack of motivation.
It's been a really inspiring conversation. I feel more motivated just talking about it with you. To summarize for our listeners, dream big, but break those dreams down into small daily habits. Don't rely on motivation. Build discipline. And most importantly, be kind to yourself when you experience setbacks.
Perfectly said, Bella. We hope you all found this episode of the Visual English Podcast valuable. If you want to improve your English fluency, listening to conversations like this is a fantastic way to do it.
Yes, and if you made it all the way to the end of this video, you are amazing. Please do us a huge favor. Subscribe to the Visual English Podcast, hit the like button, and share this video with a friend who might need some motivation today. Also, drop a comment below and tell us what is one small habit you are going to start doing tomorrow to reach your goals. We love interacting with you in the comments.
Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Keep chasing those dreams, keep practicing your English, and we will see you in the next episode.
Bye, everyone. Take care.